Prophet Muhammad trade journeys to Syria and Yemen in the dusty streets of Mecca. Beneath the scorching sun and the buzz of traders walked a man whose quiet strength, honesty, and intelligence would one day change the world. Long before, he was known as the Messenger of God. Muhammad ibn Abdullah was known as Al-Amin, the Trustworthy, a man admired by many, feared by none, and respected by all. Among the defining aspects of his early life were his trade journeys to Syria and Yemen, journeys that shaped his character, expanded his experience, and prepared him for his mission to come. In the 6th century, Mecca was not just a religious hub, it was also a powerful center of commerce. Situated on the crossroads of major trade routes, it connected the markets of the South Yemen and the North Greater Syria, or Al-Amin. The Quraysh tribe, to which the Prophet belonged, played a central role in maintaining and benefiting from this trade network. Meccans were skilled in organizing caravan journeys, managing trade goods, and building relations with distant markets. These annual trade expeditions were not just about profit, they were about diplomacy, logistics, and leadership. And into this world of trade stepped a young Muhammad. As a child, Prophet Muhammad was already surrounded by the sights and sounds of trade. Though he had lost both of his parents at a young age, he grew up under the guardianship of his grandfather, Abdul Muttalib, and later his uncle, Abu Talib. Abu Talib himself was a merchant. Though not wealthy, he participated in the caravans. Heading north to Syria, it was under the wing of Abu Talib that the young Muhammad was first introduced to the world beyond Mecca. His first journey outside of Arabia occurred when he was around 12 years old. It was a trip northward to Syria, a journey that would leave an unforgettable mark on his life. Historians narrate that the young Muhammad joined his uncle Abu Talib on a trade caravan to Syria. Along the way, the caravan stopped in the region of Busra, near the border of Roman-controlled Syria. There, an incident occurred that would echo through time. A Christian monk named Bahira, known for his piety in scriptures, noticed something unusual. He saw a cloud following the caravan, shading only one boy. He noticed that a tree bent slightly when the boy sat beneath it, and when Bahira examined the young Muhammad, he saw the signs he had read about in ancient scriptures, signs of a coming prophet. Out of concern for his safety, Bahira advised Abu Talib to return to Mecca with the boy and protect him from the envious and hostile powers of the region. Though this was a short trip, it was significant. It was Muhammad's first experience with international travel, interfaith contact, and foreign culture. The journey to Syria opened Muhammad's eyes to a world beyond Mecca, to Christian and Jewish communities, to organized empires, and to the economic dynamics of Roman provinces. He saw bustling markets, social hierarchies, political structures, and different religious practices. Unlike Mecca, which was largely tribal and polytheistic, Syria was under Byzantine Christian rule. These interactions broadened his worldview, deepened his wisdom, and subtly informed the later mission he would undertake. Though just a boy, he observed, listened, and remembered. As he grew older, Muhammad began to take part more seriously. In the commercial world of Mecca, he was known for his honesty in all dealings. He never cheated, never lied, never inflated prices, and always treated his partners fairly. In a time when business was often corrupt and self-serving, his integrity stood out. Meccan society, despite its flaws, valued trust in trade, and Muhammad quickly gained a reputation as someone whose word was gold. This honesty would lead to a pivotal moment in his life. a trade journey on behalf of a noble woman named Khadija bint Huwaylid. Khadija was a wealthy, respected woman from the Quraysh. Known for her sharp business acumen and dignified conduct, she often hired men to manage her trade caravans. Hearing of Muhammad's trustworthiness and clean record, she offered him to take charge of one of her major trade expeditions, a journey to Syria. He accepted the offer, and Khadija sent along one of her trusted servants, Seerah, to accompany him. The journey was a resounding success. Not only did Muhammad negotiate deals that brought Khadija more profit than she had expected, but he conducted himself with such dignity, humility, and fairness that Seerah was deeply impressed. He observed how Christian monks treated Muhammad with unusual respect, and how Muhammad never engaged in idle talk or immorality. When the caravan returned to Mecca, Khadija was so impressed by both the Prophet's and Seerah's report that she began to admire him not just as a trader, but as a man. This journey led to their eventual marriage, a union of love, loyalty, and deep mutual respect. While the Syrian route was more prominent for political and religious exposure, the southern route to Yemen was equally important in terms of trade. Yemen was the land of spices, silk, perfumes, and exotic goods. Caravans from Mecca often traveled south during the winter, trading leather, raisins, and goods from the Hijaz in exchange for goods from Africa and India via the Yemeni ports. Prophet Muhammad also participated in these journeys. His conduct remained consistent, fair, principled, and professional. His reputation as Al-Amin grew not only in Mecca, but along the trade routes, among merchants, innkeepers, and tribal leaders. His ability to build relationships, resolve conflicts, and ensure justice in all transactions made him beloved among traders from many tribes. For Muhammad, trade was never about greed. He saw it as a form of responsibility, a way to deal fairly, serve others, and be tested by wealth, without being consumed by it. He never took advantage of the poor. He never cheated a partner. He never manipulated prices or sold faulty goods. Even before the Quran was revealed, he lived by principles that would later be divinely mandated: honesty, justice, charity, and trust. He was known to give freely from his earnings. Orphans, widows, and the poor were never turned away. He spent his wealth wisely and his time with people who needed help. This blend of success and humility made him an example to all, even before he was chosen as a prophet. Prophet Muhammad's trade journeys did more than build his economic foundation. They prepared him mentally, socially, and spiritually for the heavy responsibility of revelation. From Syria, he gained exposure to scripture, prophecy, and politics. From Yemen, he learned diplomacy, diversity, and the art of navigating tribal relations. From the road, he mastered patience, leadership, and strategic thinking, and through it all, he built a name that would echo in every market: Muhammad, the honest, the reliable, the trustworthy. These qualities were not accidental. They were cultivated through action, years of consistency, truth, and self-discipline. When revelation finally came in the cave of Hira, those who had known Muhammad for years had no doubt about his sincerity. Why? Because they had seen how he dealt with gold and silver, and if he never lied for dinars and dirhams, why would he lie about God? Khadija, the first believer, knew his heart through his conduct in trade. Abu Bakr trusted him, in part, because he had known his honesty for decades. Even his enemies called him trustworthy. In short, the world had already seen the proof of prophethood in his character, in his trade, and in his truth. The trade journeys to Syria and Yemen were not just about goods, they were about growth. Muhammad learned, reflected, interacted, and rose through these journeys. He experienced different worlds, different people, and yet remained unchanged in his core, honest, kind, humble, and strong. Before he ever climbed Mount Hira, before he received the first revelation, before the world said, "You are the messenger of Allah," he had already shown what a messenger looks like. Prophet Muhammad participated in international trade, especially journeys to Syria in the north and Yemen in the south. He built a reputation as Al-Amin through honesty, fairness, and integrity in business. His early experiences with different cultures and religions broadened his worldview and informed his leadership. His marriage to Khadija was a result of trust earned during a trade journey. He never exploited business for greed, but saw it as a moral responsibility. These trade experiences prepared him emotionally, intellectually, and socially for prophethood. He lived by Quranic values before the Quran was revealed, proof of his fitra, natural purity. His business conduct influenced early supporters of Islam, building trust even before he began preaching. May peace and blessings be upon Prophet Muhammad, the truthful trader, the noble servant, and the most trustworthy soul to walk this earth. In the 6th century, Mecca was not just a spiritual center, it was also a thriving hub of trade and commerce. Positioned strategically along the caravan routes that connected the Mediterranean world to the Indian Ocean, Mecca benefited from the flow of goods such as spices, silk, leather, dates, and perfumes. However, Mecca itself produced little. It was not an agricultural city, nor did it boast rich natural resources. Its power came from its control of the Kaaba, which attracted tribes from across the Arabian Peninsula. These tribes came for pilgrimage but also participated in the bustling trade fairs that accompanied religious festivals. The Quraysh, the tribe of Prophet Muhammad, held a prestigious role in this economic framework. They were respected and trusted merchants whose caravans were known across Arabia and beyond. Their reputation for fair dealing and security made them welcome guests in cities as far away as Syria, Persia, and Yemen. Young Muhammad grew up in this environment, surrounded by trade, negotiation, and the politics of commerce. But unlike many others, he brought with him an exceptional quality: honesty. He did not engage in cheating or deceit. Even as a child, he was trusted with small errands, entrusted with goods, and eventually, he grew to become one of the most reliable figures in Mecca's commercial scene. One of the earliest and most significant trade journeys in the life of the Prophet occurred when he was still a young boy, around 12 years old. His beloved uncle, Abu Talib, was preparing to lead a trade caravan to Syria. And though it was unusual for children to accompany such long and dangerous trips, he took Muhammad along with him. The journey north to Basra in southern Syria was not an easy one. It spanned weeks of travel across deserts, valleys, and uncertain terrain. These were not merely commercial routes, they were corridors of knowledge, culture, and experience. Along the way, Muhammad would observe the customs of different people, witness new forms of worship, and see the complexities of international trade firsthand. During this journey, a remarkable event took place, an encounter that would later be known across generations. In a small town near Busra, the caravan stopped to rest. There, a Christian monk named Bahira noticed something unusual. He observed a young boy shaded by a cloud and protected by unseen forces, inviting the caravan for a meal. Bahira watched Muhammad carefully. He asked questions. He observed the mark between his shoulders. And then he told Abu Talib, "This boy will be a prophet one day. Take him back. There are those who will wish to harm him if they realize who he truly is." Though Abu Talib didn't fully understand the depth of Bahira's words, he sensed the importance and danger. He immediately returned to Mecca with the boy. But that journey left a deep impact on Muhammad, an early glimpse into the larger world, and perhaps a confirmation of the divine plan unfolding in his life. While the northern route to Syria was well established, equally important was the southern trade route that led to Yemen, land of civilization, agriculture, and ancient commerce. Yemen had long been a hub of trade, known for its incense, frankincense, myrrh, and spices. Its cities, such as Sana'a, Aden, and Nadran, were centers of international exchange where goods from India, Africa, and Persia flowed. It was along this southern route that the young Prophet Muhammad would later travel as part of Qurayshi caravans. By this time, he had matured into a respected and intelligent man. His dealings were marked with honesty, integrity, and a sense of fairness that stood out even in a city like Mecca, where corruption in trade was not uncommon in Yemen. Muhammad observed different cultures, dialects, climates, and traditions. He engaged with merchants who practiced different religions and represented different regions of the world. These experiences broadened his perspective. He saw the unity of human needs and the diversity of human behaviors. It was here that his patience, restraint, and wisdom as a businessman truly shone. More importantly, he never compromised his moral compass, even when large profits were at stake. While other merchants used lies or manipulative tactics to increase their margins, Muhammad relied on transparency and trust. Customers returned to him not because he promised the lowest prices, but because he promised the truth and delivered on it every time. Perhaps the most pivotal point in Prophet Muhammad's commercial life came through a businesswoman of great prestige and virtue, Khadija bint Khuwaylid. She was a widow, wealthy, and highly respected in Meccan society. Though many noblemen offered to manage her trade caravans, she was searching for someone who was not only skilled in commerce, but also known for his trustworthiness. Muhammad's reputation had already earned him the title of Al-Amin, the Trustworthy. People spoke highly of his dealings, his calm demeanor, and his unmatched honesty. When Khadija heard of this, she offered him a chance to manage her caravan to Syria, major trade expedition that could bring significant profit. Muhammad accepted the offer, and Khadija appointed her servant Maysara to accompany him and observe his conduct. What Maysara saw astonished him. Muhammad not only conducted the trade with remarkable efficiency and success, but also with deep integrity and humility. On this journey, he earned greater profits than expected, treated everyone with fairness, and avoided deceitful tactics. He showed patience, kindness, and wisdom in dealing with different clients and cultures. When he returned to Mecca and Maysara reported everything to Khadija, she was so deeply impressed that she later proposed marriage to him. This partnership, first in business and later in life, would become one of the most blessed unions in Islamic history. Khadija was the first to believe in his prophethood, the first to support him, and the first to comfort him when revelation came. It all began with trust and trade. What made Prophet Muhammad stand out as a trader was not simply skill, but values, the moral principles that guided every decision, every negotiation, and every interaction. Here are some of the key values. He practiced honesty. He never cheated, exaggerated, or manipulated. What he said was the truth. Transparency. He openly mentioned the faults of the goods he sold, never hiding defects. Trust. He kept every promise, returned every trust, and fulfilled every agreement. Fair pricing. He did not engage in overcharging or undercutting for greed. Kindness. He was generous to the poor, patient with the rude, and forgiving to the ignorant. Contentment. He believed that barakah, blessing, came from honesty, not profit margins. Avoidance of conflict. He resolved disputes with calmness, wisdom, and fairness. It was because of these qualities that even his enemies admitted, "We have never seen a man more trustworthy than Muhammad." These values would later form the foundation of Islamic business ethics, which are studied and respected even today. Though his journeys were meant for commerce, they brought with them priceless lessons and divine preparation for the role of a prophet. Cultural understanding. He encountered people of different backgrounds, helping him understand human nature on a broader scale. Leadership training. Leading caravans required planning, discipline, and conflict resolution. Reputation building. He earned the respect and trust of a wide range of people before he ever claimed prophethood. Mental strength. Long travels, harsh conditions, and uncertain situations built his resilience. Spiritual readiness. The solitude of the deserts and mountains gave him time to reflect on the purpose of life, the flaws of idol worship, and the one creator behind all existence. By the time he turned 40 and the first revelation descended in the cave of Hira, the world had already known him as a man of unmatched integrity and character. His years as a trader had prepared him for the divine mission ahead. The trade journeys of Prophet Muhammad to Syria and Yemen were not just commercial ventures, they were foundational experiences that helped shape the greatest leader the world would ever know. He didn't learn from books, nor did he study under scholars. Instead, he walked the desert trails, crossed rugged valleys, dealt with diverse peoples, and faced the harsh realities of life. Yet through it all, he remained pure, untainted by greed, unshaken by temptation, and untouched by corruption. When the revelation first descended upon him in the solitude of Hira, it came to a man already refined by the discipline of trade, the ethics of honesty, and the wisdom of experience. The Prophet Muhammad taught the world not only how to pray, but how to deal fairly, how to earn halal income, how to speak truthfully, and how to treat others with dignity. Values he practiced long before he received his first revelation. And it is no coincidence that many of the first Muslims were traders. Abu Bakr, Uthman, and Abdur Rahman ibn Awfra, all were merchants who followed in the footsteps of a prophet who had shown that you could succeed in this world without compromising the next. Here are the core lessons we learn from the trade journeys of Prophet Muhammad. Integrity over profit. He taught that honesty brings more blessings than wealth ever could. Trust is everything. His success was built on trust, and so was his message. Character speaks louder than words. People followed him not just because of what he said, but because of how he lived. Trade can be worship when done ethically. Business becomes a form of ibadah worship. Experiences prepare you for greater purposes. The journeys to Syria and Yemen were not random, they prepared him for the weight of revelation. Respect across religions and borders. His fairness earned him admiration from Jews, Christians, and polytheists alike. Leadership begins with small responsibilities before leading the Ummah. He led trade, caravan. He did it with excellence. As we reflect on the life of the Prophet Muhammad, let us not overlook his time as a merchant. It was during this time that his trustworthiness, intelligence, humility, and discipline became widely known. And it was through this foundation that Allah chose him for the noblest mission of all, to guide mankind. May we follow his example in our own dealings, whether in business, family, or faith, and remember that every honest act, no matter how small, is a step closer to Allah. Peace and blessings be upon our Prophet Muhammad, the truthful trader, the noble messenger, the seal of the prophets.